Hey, welcome to another episode of the Bhangra podcast. Today's featured mix is 24, 25, 26 by H96. Link will be in the show notes. Today, Umar is interviewing Howie Magaro from AEG. Howie is the former captain of Michigan Bhangra Team, also known as MBT. During Howie's senior year, he led the team to a season resulting in a first place, a second place, and 2 third place finishes, including a third place finish at Bhangra Blowout. Now he's captaining the return of AEG, already placing second twice and first twice. Alright, let's get to our interview with Howie Magaro.
Well, my name is Howie Magaro. I've danced with AEG, with Taylor Shakeen, Michigan Bhangra Team, and Duniya De Rang. I am currently the captain of AEG alongside my co-captain Akash Manocha. I captain MBT from 2014-2016, and I am one of the founders for Duniya De Rang.
Okay, so before we start, one thing I did want to ask is, so I've heard from somebody that you actually used to BBoy before you joined Bhangra. How did that start, and how did that transition to becoming a Bhangra dancer?
I got into BBoying because of You Got Served. I know it sounds like very generic, and the thing that it is, but I got into BBoying because You Got Served, and one of my best friends at the time that I used to BBoy with actually, wanted to start a Bhangra team, and he brought me to a Desi Formal when I first went to college, and that's where I saw Bhangra as a whole. And when I first saw it, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. I know I'm like a bit of a hypocrite now, but then when I found out about the competitive circuit and, the whole weekend experience and all the teams competing for, these big trophies and everything, and that really drew me to Bhangra as a whole, and just really, leave B-boy and just dedicate myself full time to it.
So, MBT went to a lot of competitions 2 years ago when he went to blow up. What was the mindset behind it? You went to 6.
Well, back then we were coming off of my second year captaining, and I captained our senior year with, Pratik Lakhani and Saab Grover, who's also one of the current captains of Fertile right now. And after our first year, we had our first taste at winning Nashville in 2015, and we said, man, this feels so good that we want to continue doing this. Let's win more. And we thought, well, to win more, we need, more opportunities. And we said, you know what? Let's go to all the cons we possibly can without burning out the kids, and let's do our best to win. And, that's what went on to that streak of 6 that we just kept going because we just wanted to win that bad. And, the more taste that we got of, placing at comps, the more that we just wanted to compete more and more. And then we ended up at 6 competitions by the end of the year.
So you talked about burning out your dances and everything. How was it hard to keep your team motivated that entire way through?
The funny thing is, I had a great group of kids. They really, believed in us 3 as a whole, and that when they got more taste of winning, they just wanted to win just as much as we did. And that's what really kept us driving throughout the whole entire year, and also just us gunning after CMU that year, because CMU was the top collegiate team. And man, I was just I really wanted to beat CMU. And that's what we literally, every comp we went to, CMU was there, right? And it went CMU, then us, and we just said, we want to beat CMU. And we literally went to, Unker and Tejas at the time, we said, we want to beat you. We just want to let you know that we're going to go to every comp you're going to go to, and we're going to definitely try to take that first place.
No, I remember the Facebook post where it's just forever, #forever CMU. So it seems like your team was super motivated and everybody really believed in you as a captain. How did you create that culture? Because I know one of the questions we're getting a lot from a lot of the listeners of the podcast is that they struggle to motivate their dancers, and they struggle to create an environment where they can compete because people just don't want to. And what did you do to create that culture? What did you do to get that respect from everybody else you were captaining?
I think the biggest message that Pratik, Saab, and I tried to deliver to our dancers was that you got to think of it from this perspective, on practicality. You're putting in hundreds of hours throughout a semester to go to a competition. And when you get there and you present this product, you don't come back with hardware, you don't come back with a prize money or a check. That means that everything that you really worked for, you come in the negative. You come back feeling a little bit down. You come back with less money in your bank account, right? And you come back that, what if I did this, I could have done this better, and etc. And we said, we don't want to take that chance. We want to come back with something that we feel good about ourselves, that we show that our effort turned into something great, what in the form of a trophy and a check. And that's the mentality we told them, that you're putting in all these hours. It's like you studying for a test and then you fail. You're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm failing. So what? And that's like the analogy we used to use back then. I think that it just shows that with us that we told our kids, especially on MBT, that if you stick it out with us, we guarantee you that, you're going to definitely get a couple cool pictures on Facebook, for your profile picture. And more so on top of that, in that Facebook picture, instead of you by yourself in the varsity, you're going to have you with a trophy in your hand. Because you're going to definitely get more likes about that than, than just you by yourself in a varsity. But the whole thing is
you bribed your team with just Facebook likes, is basically what you're telling me.
No, a little bit, but more so that we told them that you stick it out with us, we guarantee you that we'll lead you to, placings, that it will happen. That you have to have that faith in us because we have that faith in you in return. It's a two-way street. One can't survive without the other.
That mutual trust, that I believe in you as a captain, but the thing is, you also have to make sure that you believe in the dance as well. So then, after MBT, you obviously became the captain of AEG. How was that transition? What were the differences when it came to captaining MBT versus AEG?
I think with AEG with AEG that predominantly a lot of the guys on our team, they were Punjabi, they understood the language, right? And that with them, the connection with them is that we were all Punjabi, right? And I came in, it was like, look at me, I'm Chinese, right? and I really connected with these boys, though. These group of guys, these 25 group of guys, are some of them are my closest friends. I love these kids so much. But the thing is that I took the effort to really try with them in terms of understanding the culture. Like, I speak random Punjabi words, I sing bolis with them here and there, right? But it's just, I show them that, I make that effort. And, Akash does the same, right? Because, he's not Punjabi himself. That we don't have that many non-Punjabis on our team when we first started, and that we both tried to, really get into Punjabi culture as a whole.
You are a little Punjabi. I know there's that one video of you on Instagram with Diljit Dosanjh.
Diljit's my boy, man.
I'll definitely, for anybody who's curious what that is, I will definitely link that video in the show notes where Howie is doing his take on Punjabi Boliyaan. Was there anything that you learned while captaining AEG that you wish you could tell your MBT self?
I think the biggest thing is that if I were to go back then, I would tell myself is that you're dealing with 16 people, and these 16 people are 16 different personalities, right? So when you're approaching captaining, maybe you yelling at one person will work, but you yelling at someone else definitely will not work. Or you telling somebody, in a very sweet manner what to fix, and trying to tell another person in a sweet manner what to fix does not always work. You have to know all 16 of your dancers, or 20 of your dancers, or 12 of your dancers, their personality and what they respond to, what makes them tick, what makes them understand the message you're trying to convey to them as a whole. And that's what I would definitely wish I could tell myself back then, because I just literally thought back then everybody was the same. Well, I don't understand why he doesn't respond this way, when I'm being nice, or why she's not responding this way when I'm yelling at him,
So I know one thing we were talking before was when you were captaining AEG, one thing I had to deal with is just kind of an egotism, because you did have dancers from back from AEG old, when back in 2008, 2009, going on, and you had a lot of seniority. Yeah, a lot of seniority. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So one of the guys, Guru Chima, he's been on the team since 2008, right? He's one of the OG seniors, and he finally retired at Berg. And the thing is, when I joined the team, I was someone new on the team in comparison to him. So then when I got made captain and he decided to come back and dance again, there was that uncomfortableness where it's like, oh man, I have to now tell my senior what to do back then, right? But, he did a great job in terms of, he respected me, and I really, really respected him as a person, that everything just went smoothly with him. And with the other guys, when it comes to ego, they didn't really have an ego in the beginning, but then after Cleveland, certain people started building little egos after that, because after the first comp, because now they think, oh, I'm a better dancer, I would know better than the person next to me. But the thing is, you always have to keep egos in check. You have to let them know that you are the biggest dog in this room. and that you are not someone to be messed with. And that's what, Akash does that very well. And, I learned that from him as well. And that we just bounce off each other in that manner, because in the beginning I was very, very nice. And then it became more that I can't act that way all the time.
So how have you dealt with egos? How have you actually handled people with egos on your team?
I've had one or two people that definitely gave me a problem in the past, that are no longer on the team now anymore. But, most of the time people try to, pull something slick, like, oh, my feet hurt. I don't want to dance. I want to go all out. And I just literally tell them, like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. All right, go sit in the corner. But what? Like, go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner. They go, are you going to make me go sit in the corner? I said, well, your feet hurt. Obviously, you don't want to dance or want to be here. So, the rest of us will run it. Or, he will try to do something in the similar manner. I'm like, all right, we'll all stop till you're ready to dance. How does that make you feel? Embarrassment, sometimes you do have to embarrass an individual to make them understand that you are doing something wrong, right? It doesn't work with everybody, but like, especially people that have really, really, tough egos that you're trying to break, you have to embarrass them sometime here and there. Not in public, but within the team setting, sometimes it does have to happen.
So then, after that, you obviously don't want to make them feel awful the entire time. How have you kind of reconciled people? People, I know one question we've gotten a little bit was like, some people are a little bit softer when it comes to criticisms and stuff like that. How have you dealt with people who, took something you said the wrong way?
I think, I'll give you an example, right? So leading up to Vegas, I was very frustrated. I yelled at one of my dancers really, really badly at practice. And, he didn't talk back or anything, but he was just very cold, frustrated, very angry. And then, he went home. And, I went home. But the whole thing I always do with my dancers, especially, is that if I yell at them, right, and I make them feel really terrible at practice, I always make an effort. I give them a call 2 hours later when I get home. Give them a call, hey, how you doing? Most of the time, they're like, oh, I'm fine. That voice that you definitely know that they're definitely not fine. But then you just have to talk to them, like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for yelling at you or, embarrassing you in front of the team, but I am not sorry for the message I was trying to convey to you, that you were being lazy or you weren't, going all out during the run-through. And it just saying a matter where, like, you do want to let them know that you do care about them at the end of the day. Because, these people you're going to be with, for the next, semester or in the next couple of years or your whole life, some of these people are going to be your best friends. And it's just letting them know that you care. You have to make them feel special in that manner, that, like, where they will come back the next practice and feel like everything was fine, that they got the message across, not to do that, again.
And now here's a message for one of our sponsors. 00 Threads is the leading provider of customized apparel. Having served over 100 dance competitions and teams since its inception, 00 Threads ensures an easy ordering process and seamless delivery of everything ranging from t-shirts to snapbacks. Mention the Bhangra podcast while ordering and 00 Threads will provide a discounted rate. Visit 00threads.com for more information. If you'd like to promote your business, competition, or organization on the podcast, email us at bhangrateamspodcast@gmail.com.
Transitioning a little bit out of that. What is Ankush like? I know, like, captaining a team, when you're captaining a team that's kind of going through a little bit of revival, a rebrand, but still having, like, the original captain kind of watching every single thing you're doing. How's that been,
Ankush is one of my closest friends, one of my best friends in the world. And, having him around has been such a huge help, especially when Akash and I took over AEG, is that Ankush is very honest with us, right? Because me and Akash respond very well to honesty, whether it be blunt and very mean. We don't really care if it comes out in that manner, because Ankush would tell us, well, for example, Akash does the majority of the choreo on AEG, right? And he puts out, some choreo, and he puts in our choreo group and he goes, here's a choreo for Shika. And Ankush will look at it and he'll be like, either this just completely sucks, you need to scrap the whole thing, right? Or that you need to fix this, keep this. The first half is just terrible. Please get rid of it, right? And, it does sound mean to a lot of people, right? But then, like, it saves you a lot of the BS of, oh, I think it's good. Like, oh, then maybe I could go back and fix it later. But, like, he just tells us straight up, like, I don't like this and you need to fix it. And then, Akash will go back and revamp it and it comes out, like, literally 100 times better. It hits so much harder, right? And I really do appreciate that honesty he's always had with us, because when he captained, that's one of the things he kept it very real with all of his dancers, and is why we respected him so much as a captain. Like it was no bullshit. It was just, this is how it is, and that if you followed him, you know, to battle, which is on stage, that he will give you a trophy at the end of the day.
So another thing, can you please explain the Panda?
Well, the Panda is native to China, and it's a mammal. I'm totally kidding with you. So I think the Panda came before I even joined the team, and it was first revealed at Elite 8 2012 when we went. And I didn't understand it, but I believe somebody on our team in the past just was really into pandas apparently, and then they made this into an inside joke, you know, and then it became a reality that they brought a panda to Elite 8, and we had a panda suit and with a big head. And then we made it a joke again, you know, at Cleveland, and we wanted to bring the panda out again. And, you know, we were all for it. We're like, screw it, we're going to bring a panda out. And then we brought the panda out, and the panda was off-centered at Cleveland. And then that was one of the critiques we got. They said the panda was off-centered for the ending. And we're like, oh, but how much did we lose by to CMU? They're like 0.5. So we're like, damn it, the panda was the reason we lost. And, you know, it's funny, it was one of our seniors, Gunu, right? Because we love Gunu. Gunu's such a clown, right? He's like, I want to be the panda. This is my comeback. I'm going to be the panda. And then we're like, all right. So he comes, he brings the panda suit, and he goes, you know, he goes a little bit too far off center, and then we got called out for, like, that's what we lost because of the panda, and then we retired the panda after that. And it's really funny because I remember Ankush goes, when we put up the Cleveland, he goes, please do me a favor, cut out the panda from the ending. Just put it up, like, you know, just snip the panda, the ending, just completely cut it. Just get rid of the panda. And I'm like, gotta put the panda in there, you know, it's my culture at the end of the day.
Oh, man. So, I mean, to go off of that, I mean, AEG is really known for, like, doing some crazy stuff, like, really innovative choreos, mechanisms, overall set design. I mean, one thing I'll call you out for, I mean, you had a very interesting way of sitting down on stage at Berg. Like, don't get me wrong, the little Fumania thing, it was kind of hot. At the same time, I was so mad because, like, you just did a sub-segment, and you just got, Howie's literally straight sitting at the very front of stage, just like twisting your hands, going on, and doing Fumania for 30 seconds. I was like, all right. But what's the creative process like? I mean, one thing I really enjoy talking to people about, especially when it comes to Bhangra, is like what do you guys go through? Is there anything you go to for inspiration very often? How do you go about making choreo? How much time do you spend? Stuff like that.
Well, we started making, for example, the Berg set in April, and we had all our choreo done by the time June hit, right? And it's tweaks here and there. But the biggest thing, I think, with every team is that as a captain, you do not have to do everything. You have to rely on the resources that you do know, right? That you do have. And that you have a set specific role, right? So, for example, on AEG, right? Akash does all the choreo. 80-90% of the choreo comes from Akash, right? Because he's just that good at it, right? It's like, I'll be like, Akash, can you make me a sub-segment? And he goes, yo, I got you. And he comes back 2 hours later, and it's like, you know, the bombest sub-segment we had, like our sub-segment at Berg, right? And then it becomes, okay, who's good at making formations, right? I'm like, I'm decent at making formations, right? But I got lucky because Pratik, when he graduated, he came with me to AEG, and he had a leadership role in terms of, he wasn't a captain, but he would help us out because he had captained before, and he would do the formations alongside me and Ankush, right? So he made all the formations for Berg, and we didn't really question him too much on it because he just knew how people moved, how to make shapes, and how to make people move in ways that, we just never thought of. And then Ankush will be the overall body, watching to see how the set is designed, telling us what we need to fix. This sucks. This needs to be out. This needs to be put in, right? And then just having that final saying, like a person who just has such a decorated punter career who really knows what they're doing. And I come in more towards after the set and the formations are done. I love cleaning. I love cleaning dancers, right? I love setting form, hitting all the angles, the formation. We have the beats here. I have beats 1 and 2, and we just worked really well together because we all knew specifically what we were good at, and we never tried to bother the other person in terms of, I think we should do this completely differently, because we just had that trust in each other that we knew that we were exactly good at.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like something like FCB kind of runs too. I mean, like Sagar, Shushan, Sid, they definitely make more of the choreo. Me and Neil kind of take care of formations, and then honestly, it's like whoever's at practice today will like teach the choreo. But teach everything. One last thing I do want to talk to you about is that a BTF post you made a while back about bringing the fire back to the circuit. Blew up, constant jokes from there on out about anybody who read that post. So why do you think the circuit lacks fire? And and also, do you think it has gotten any better since you made that post?
What I meant by that post is that lacking fire is I wanted rivalries back. I wanted people to be in the seats while I danced. I wanted everybody to get excited by our dancing. And what I did see in the decline in Bhangra back then was that everybody stopped thinking this idea of rivalry, right? And everybody, like, there's nothing wrong with being friends with each other. I'm not saying don't be friends with each other, but what I am saying is that when you go into a competition, there should be 6 teams on that lineup that you want to say, hey, screw your team, I'm going to beat you, right? That's what I do like, right? Like, for example, like, me and you, we're cool, man, right? But FCB is one of our big rivals, right? That, like, and the thing is, when I saw that when you entered mixers, in the past, everyone's hugging each other, and it's like, oh, best of luck, I hope you do really great, this and that, da-da-da-da-da, rather than, like, letting them know, I am here to beat you, because that's the vibe I used to get back then, right? And things have improved since then. For example, I went to Berg this year, right? Like, I'm cool with, like, some of the homies on KPGD. I'm cool with some of the guys at FCB and Buckeye, right? And UNC. But this time around, when I went into that mixer, what I sensed in the air was that all the people were staring at each other, because everybody at that mixer just recently won first or second at a comp before, right? And we're all looking at each other like,
right. Yeah, I forgot about that, dude. Like, every single person at that comp placed literally a week before.
Exactly. And we're there. We all looked at each other. We're like, oh, yeah, you placed first where? You placed first at AKD. You placed first at Dushin. Oh, yeah, you just beat us last week, FCB, right? And we said, you know what? I'm going to beat you here in your own hometown. I'm going to take the trophy away from your own hometown. That's the mentality we had, right?
Hold up. Hey, yeah. Wait till Berg this game, little kid.
And then, hey, let's do it again. I'm down. Like you see, and we're vibing right now, right? Because we're cool with each other, but we had that rivalry. Because that's what I love, right? Because then I gave you a dap at the mixer, but it wasn't the same dap I gave you at the after party. Because at the mixer, I gave you a dap, and it's like, best of luck, but I'm gonna beat you tomorrow, right? And at the after party, it was like, yo, you're my boy again, and everything. That's what I loved. That's what I meant by rivalries, friendly rivalries.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So speaking of fire and beef and all of that, when you're practicing for comps and making choreo and developing sets, what teams do you have in mind? Like, who are you constantly gunning for?
This year, definitely, I have 3 teams in mind. First things first, right? We're gonna come back to Berg this year, and we definitely want to go against FCB again.
Yep.
Ditto
for us too. Don't worry.
Exactly. Round 3, let's see it, right? You guys are definitely one of our top teams that we're gunning for. Second thing is, within New York, there's Sword May. We're going to Bhangra the 6th. They're going to Bhangra the 6th. They are an amazing dancing team. I love the way they execute their moves, right? And they really bring that folk aspect of it. And the thing is, within New York, you're in the same state. You want to have that rivalry against them. And for us, we're going, hey, we heard you guys did amazing last year at 6, right? But this year, let's see how we do against you. Who is really the top dog in New York City, right? But I'm cool with their captain, like Gurjeet Lally, I love you and everything, right? But this year, Bhangra in the 6th, we're coming for that first place, against you. Or we were definitely going to try to place against you, right? Okay, above you. And, he's super cool dude, and I love the way they dance, but, like, you want to have that rival. You want to work towards something. You want to beat someone, right? That's our second team that we're working towards. And definitely our third team is, shout out to the Toronto people out there. Like, I love the way you guys dance, and you guys always ran the Bhangra circuit whenever you come to a competition where it's like, oh man, NJ or SGPD or, you know, SPDs coming through, they're going to place first, right? But like, I really want to see like how we go against you guys. Like, we really want to give you a run for your money, right? Especially with us. And I have the utmost respect for you guys, but like, I want that competition. I love it as a whole.
Gotcha. All right. I guess that wraps up this podcast then. All right. You have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to say?
Just, you know, finals, a couple shout outs, especially, you know, to AEG and to MBT in the past. You know, currently with AEG, I love all the boys on this team. All the boys have really stepped up, especially with some of the younger guys, you know, like Ravi Suki, Vikram, AT, Amo, Guri, you know, Karthik. You guys have really stepped up, and, you know, they've been really helping with the choreo this time around, right? Really pristine guys. They're going to be the future of this team, you know, definitely, because I'm getting old as a whole, and I got to find the life outside of Bhangra. And definitely to, you know, Ankush and Akash, where definitely they, you know, held me down, helped me out and everything, and especially, you know, just that we'll continue working harder as a whole.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to another episode of the Bhangra Podcast. Do you have any ideas for what we should talk about? If so, email us at bhangrateamspodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at the Bhangra Pod. If you like this podcast, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you get the podcast automatically downloaded as soon as it hits the feed. And if you really want to help us out, please leave a review on iTunes and let us know how we're doing.